my mighty shifters. Welcome to another episode of Shift Happens. Today, we're going to be talking about when worry becomes too much, seeking help for anxiety and depression. Welcome to Shift Happens. This is Real Talk, Real Impact. I am your host, Corrina Jackson, your bougie confident boss lady, here to help you shift community atmosphere and involvement one day, one step at a time. And also remember that I am your morning snack, your noonday nibble, and your evening unwind. So let's jump into it. Like I said, today I want to talk to you about something that's close to my heart and something that affects so many of us, whether we say it out loud or not. Anxiety and depression. And how do you know when it's just stress or when it's time to get help? Because here's the truth, y'all. Shift really does happen. And sometimes it happens in our minds and in our heart in ways we don't expect it. You know, being a CEO, there comes a lot of anxiety, but then there comes a lot of depression. You get depressed about, are you going to be able to do all the things that a CEO should for your agency? You worry about your staff and how you're going to and bring in funds for your staff to have salaries that they need to take care of their families. And then there's the flip side of that, which is anxiety. And anxiety creeps up like nobody's business. With me, I know anxiety comes when I think about what should I do to make things happen for my organization? And when you think about it, you get anxious. You get anxious about putting certain things in place. You know, do I have enough staff to do this? And do I have enough money to do this? And before you know it, anxiety takes over. And it creates stress as well. And so let's just get real. Let's get honest. And let's help each other shift from suffering and silence to seeking support. Now, first, I want to talk about what anxiety and depression really are. Anxiety is more than just that feeling of nervous because of a big presentation. It's constant worry, relentlessness, feeling like your heart is racing, even when you're sitting still. It's trouble sleeping, you feel edgy, or you feel like something bad is going to happen all the time. Depression, on the other hand, isn't just feeling sad because you had a bad day. It's that persistent sadness that lasts for weeks or even months. It's losing interest in something that you really do love. It's waking up tired, no matter how much you sleep, feeling hopelessness and worthless or even numb. You know, I go through that all the time, waking up in the middle of the night, especially if I have a report that's due, that brings about anxiety. And like I said earlier, it can bring depression because you wonder if you're putting things in place and you have all of these people that are relying on you. And so it's like that brings about anxiety with me. I don't know about you, but we all have different ways of dealing with anxiety and depression. Now, here in Oklahoma, let me tell you, over 1 in 4 adults report experiencing symptoms of anxiety or depression. That's a lot of folks. Friends, neighbors, even leaders and professionals who seem like they have it all together. I know people tell me all the time, Karina, you have it all together. You know, it seems like you just put things into perspective and you just go out and do it. You're driven. And I'm going to tell you, behind the scenes, that doesn't happen all the time. I mean, I go through my own anxiety, my own depression, wondering about, is enough going to be enough? Am I doing enough? So I don't have it all together, guys. I really don't. You know, I like to be transparent. I like to say what's really going on with me. I like to talk to my staff. I like to make them laugh. They make me laugh. And that helps with my anxiety and depression a lot. I call them the pioneers of the organization because they helped me build that organization. And they'll look at me and say, yeah, but you do all the work. You do this and that. And I don't do all the work. I could never make this organization and things that has happened for me with this organization without them. So I just kind of want to do a shout out to them right now because, they really do help my anxiety and depression. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or down, you're not alone, like I just explained. And it's not your fault. I mean, it happens to all of us. Really, it does. Let's talk about how to know when it's time to reach out for help, because I think that's important. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to go to a therapist because I don't want people to think that I'm crazy, or I don't want to talk to somebody about what I'm going through or what I'm feeling, or I don't want to seem like I don't have it all together. Listen, there's help out there, guys. I've sought it out myself. I've talked to therapists, I talked to my friends, I talked to my neighbors. I have a best friend that I bounce things off of, and that really helps me with my anxiety. I mean, really, all you need is someone to just listen to you and give their feedback. I like paraphrasing too. I like for people to repeat back what I've talked to them about so that I know that they're really listening. And I like talking to people who are not judgmental. Let me just say that. So some of the signs, emotional signs include feeling hopeless, feeling worthless, crying often or feeling numb, constant worry or fears that won't go away. Then there's physical signs as well. Like I talked about earlier with the trouble sleeping, either too much or not enough. And I go through that too when I'm depressed or if I'm feeling like anxiety is taking over. Sometimes I just kind of want to lay in the bed and sleep it off and I don't want to get up. And then I have to just literally make myself get out of bed and start moving around. There's also fatigue or feeling drained all the time. And something that I experience a lot when I go through depression is headaches and stomach aches or other pains with no clear cause. There's behavioral signs as well, and you got to pay attention to those too. It's withdrawing from your friends and family. When the phone rings and you look at the phone, you're like, I don't want to talk to that person. And it doesn't have anything to do with the person. It's just how you're feeling. But I will pick up the phone anyway because it does make me feel better to just kind of talk to a cousin or a neighbor or a friend or staff. I like talking to my staff. They make me laugh. They lend a listening ear. I don't know if they really are listening to what I'm saying, but I mean, they really, really make me believe like they are listening to me. So I appreciate that. Also, losing interest in hobbies or work. I love making jewelry. That's one of the things that I like. It takes my mind off of what I'm thinking about that's maybe bringing on anxiety or depression. I like making jewelry from clay. It's just something about, getting your hands all into the clay. I work with polymer clay, and so I send it through the pasta machine and cranking that pasta machine up and with your hands and just going through the motions or whatever. Those kind of things really can relieve depression. Using alcohol or drugs to numb your feelings. And I personally am not a drinker, not of heavy alcohol. Every now and then, I like a nice glass of wine, and that does relieve my anxiety. It calms me down. But I am not a real, true drinker of alcohol. Let me say that. I have friends that the first thing they want to do is go by the liquor store and get some heavy type of liquor. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging. But when you're drinking too much to alleviate the pain or signs of pain that you're going through, whether it's behavioral type pain or emotional type pain that you're going through, if you're using alcohol to numb that pain, that's not good. Really, it's not. And if you're drinking too much, it's really time to maybe reach out and get some help for that. And if you have the willpower to stop, I would say to stop it because alcohol brings on unwanted feelings too that you don't want to fester, if you will. But the biggest red flag is this. If you ever feel like hurting yourself or that life isn't worth living, please don't wait. Get the help immediately. Call your friends, call out 911, reach out to someone that you can trust. Your life matters. It really, really does. Your life matters. If these feelings stick around for more than 2 weeks, it's time to talk to someone. It's not just a rough patch. It's your mind and body saying, I need help. So what does getting help look like? Let me tell you, it's not as scary as it sounds. Talk therapy is one option. And therapy doesn't have to be with a professional counselor. Like I said, it can be with a friend, it could be with a neighbor, someone that's willing to listen. But if you think the situation is more serious than that, reaching out to a counselor and talking one on one and getting that one on one counseling is the key. Group therapy is good, or family sessions. People that love you, they are your support system. We all have some type of support system. Let me say that. And it don't have to be just your family. Sometimes just talking it out with a professional who listens without judgment can be life changing. Medication can help too. I remember when I first got into this business and I got a program called Healthy Start, and it was totally out of my era of what I was used to. I was used to real small programs, and Healthy Start was on a bigger level. And so I used to have to do a lot of public speaking. And I realized that I was forgetting my words, my outline. I wouldn't pay attention to the outlines that I would write out. It was due to the fact that I was suffering from just a tad bit of ADHD. And with ADHD, your mind is just constantly racing. Racing, racing, racing. And I needed something to slow me down. And so I went to my doctor and I talked it out with him, and he said, listen, let me prescribe you something that will slow your mind down so that you could focus more on what it is that you're wanting to present on. And it really, really helped me. It really helped me. I know people get nervous about meds, but for some folks, they really are tools that bring relief and balance. It's not a sign of weakness. Let me say that again. It's not a sign of weakness, because when I was going through needing something like medication, the first thing I thought, God, I'm going to get addicted to something and it's just going to make me weak. And what if other people find out I'm on medication? How are they going to think of me, or what are they going to think of me rather? And I had to kind of put that to the side and just realized that I had to do what was good for me at that time. And this was a job that I was really looking forward to doing a great job at, doing a really great at doing my presentations and wanting to be there for my staff. And so I really needed help, and medication was great for me. Self-care is important too. Things like exercising, sleeping, prayer, or meditation, journaling. I love journaling. I thought about it, in pieces of what I could do. Exercising was good, but I wanted to go deeper and do something with my hands, and writing and actually reading what I wrote was really good for me. So I love journaling. But I want to be clear. Self-care alone isn't enough if you're dealing with serious anxiety or depression. Sometimes we need more. Here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there are resources available like COPE's hotline, which is 918-744-4800. Trained crisis counselors are there 24/7 to help you. And then there's your suicide and crisis lifelines. They're just a dial away. Many local churches are talking to your pastor. We have counselors in churches here. They are good as well. Community centers also offer mental health programs. Don't be afraid to talk to primary care doctors. I love talking to my doctor. And listen, get those doctors that will listen to you. And if they're not listening to you, call them out. Say, listen, I'm talking to you and you're not listening to me. And I really need for you to listen to me, because this is something important to me. And I need your help, your guidance, your advice, and your assistance. Your regular doctor is often a great place to start, really. And I started with my PCP, which is my provider here, and he was great. At first, I thought he's not listening to me, but he really was listening to me. And one of the things that I really like about my doctor is that he likes to pray. He prays, first of all, he asks you, because he doesn't want to step on a territory that he's not welcome. And so he asked me, is it okay for me to pray for you? And I said, yes, it's okay. I love prayer. I love praying for people, and I like to be prayed for. You deserve to feel better. And so you don't want to wait until you hit rock bottom to get help. Reach out and get the necessary help. Let's bust some myths, shall we, about depression and anxiety and what people think of you so that you will know that this is something I really, really need for myself. And only weak people get depressed. Let me say that. People think that. That's a myth. That only weak people get depressed. No, everybody gets depressed. They go through their depression. If people say, oh, I never get depressed, I don't believe that. I think everybody goes through depression. That's a lie. Strong people get depression too. It's a medical condition, not a character flaw. Therapy is too expensive. That's a myth. There's, like I talked about earlier, different forms of therapy that's free. There's programs around here that's free of charge. You do the research, see what's out there that's available. There are sliding scale therapists, nonprofit clinics, and free resources like hotlines and support groups. Help can be affordable. And then talking about it makes it worse. Now that we know is a myth. And I have the gift for gab, so I know talking about it, it does not make it work. It makes it better for me, really. Especially when you have somebody that's sitting in a non-judgmental seat that's really paying attention to what you're saying. Keeping things bottled up is what makes it worse. Talking about it is how the healing begins. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Even as someone who's a leader in my community, who runs Shift, supporting healthy initiatives for Tulsa, and stand behind this microphone every episode, I've had days when I felt like I couldn't get out of bed. I talked about that earlier. Days when the weight of my worries felt like a mountain pressing on my chest. And let me tell you, I'm a big chested girl, so I don't need anything else pressing against my chest. I really don't. It took me a long time to understand that seeking help doesn't mean that you're weak. Really, it means that you're strong. Because if you can reach out to someone and tell them about how it is that what you're going through and what you're feeling, they will turn around and tell you you're strong for even reaching out. It means that you're strong enough to fight for yourself. You don't have to pretend everything is okay when it's not. You don't have to walk through this life alone. Shift happens. And sometimes the biggest shift we can make is choosing to ask for help. I just want you to kind of just take a deep breath right there. I want to say that again. Shift happens. And sometimes the biggest shift we can make is choosing to ask for help. So if you're wondering, is this just stress or do I need help? Listen to your body. Listen to your heart. If there's feelings that last more than a couple of weeks, please talk to someone. You deserve help. You're important. You deserve healing. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Thank you for spending time with me today. Again, Shift Happens. This is real talk, real impact, and together we're going to keep shifting the bad into good. Join me next time when I'll be talking about healthy foods on a budget, shopping and cooking tips that won't break the bank. Until then, take care of yourselves. And remember, it's okay not to be okay. But if it's not okay, then to say that it's not okay. You're not alone, really. Until next time, I am Corrina Jackson. I am your bougie, confident boss lady. I am your morning snack, your noonday nibble, and your evening unwind. I have thoroughly enjoyed this episode and talking to you because, like I said, shift does happen. We all need to shift the atmosphere, and together we can make that happen. Until next time, like I said, take care of yourself, and I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you.